In the quiet suburb of Brisbane, where Bluey and her family played fun games every day, everything changed one evening. Bluey sat in her room hugging her favorite toy, a plush kitten. "Let's play Sleepy Adventures," she said to Bingo. They closed their eyes and the room filled with the soft light of the nightlight. But this time the dream was different. Bluey smelled something strange, sweet like poppy buds but with a hint of rot. She opened her eyes and saw that their house had turned into a dark labyrinth of shadows. "Bingo! Mom! Dad!" She called, but the echo came back empty. In the distance she heard purring, low and ominous, like distant thunder. From around the corner slipped a figure, a large purple cat with eyes glowing red like embers in the night. It was CatNap, that monster from the forgotten stories kids whispered about online. His tail swayed slowly and purple gas poured from his mouth, swirling across the floor like smoke. "Shh," he whispered in a voice like rustling leaves. "Time to sleep forever." Bluey froze. She knew CatNap wasn't from their world. He came from a factory of horrors where toys come alive and steal children's dreams. "Go away! This is our game!" Bluey shouted, but the gas had already reached her. Her paws grew heavy and nightmares swirled in her head. Bandit turned into a mad dog with sharp teeth, Chili whispered curses, and Bingo vanished into the purple mist. CatNap approached, his claws scratching the floor. "You thought your games were eternal?" he sneered. "I steal joy. Your family is mine now." Bluey tried to run, but the labyrinth walls closed in, flashing images, broken toys, crying children. The factory where CatNap was born from evil scientists' experiments. The gas filled her lungs and Bluey saw the truth. This was the lost episode of Bluey that was never meant to see the light of day. The creators hid it because children who watched it fell asleep and never woke up. In desperation, Bluey grabbed her toy kitten and threw it at CatNap. "Wake up! It's a dream!" she shouted to herself. The purple monster growled, the gas swirling in a vortex, but suddenly the room shook. Bingo materialized beside her, holding her paw. "Bluey, let's play Wake Up," she squeaked. Together they jumped, clapping their paws, and the nightmare began to fade. CatNap retreated, his eyes dimming. "This isn't the end. I'll return to your dreams," he hissed, dissolving into the shadows. Bluey woke up in her bed, her whole family sleeping peacefully. But on the pillow lay a purple hair, a reminder that the line between play and horror is thin. From then on, Bluey played carefully, and at night she listened for purring outside the window. The morning at the Healer house began with an unusual silence. Bluey woke up to find Bandit and Chili not playing as usual, but sitting on the couch, staring blankly ahead. Their eyes were slightly open, but they lacked their usual playful spark, and their smiles seemed unnaturally wide, frozen. A faint, unfamiliar, sickly sweet scent like something old and damp emanated from them. When Bluey tried to approach Bandit, he let out a low, raspy chuckle that wasn't like his usual laugh. It was a hollow, repetitive sound that carried no joy. Chili also giggled softly, her laughter just as eerie, contagious, and chilling. Bluey and Bingo watched their parents with growing unease. They tried to draw them into a game, but Bandit and Chili merely raised their paws slowly, attempting to hug the children. But their touches were cold and limp. Their gazes remained fixed on something distant beyond the room. Soon, Bluey and Bingo began to notice the same thing happening outside. Neighbors passing by the house also wore those frozen smiles, their laughter quiet and constant, their eyes lifeless. They moved slowly but purposefully, as if driven by some shared incomprehensible objective. The entire neighborhood was sinking into an ominous laughing silence. Houses stood open and within silhouettes flickered, emitting the same soft, raspy chuckles. The virus didn't make them aggressive in the usual sense. It stripped them of their individuality, leaving only this empty, infectious joy. By evening, Bandit and Chili rose from the couch. Their movements became slightly quicker but remained jerky. They slowly reached for Bluey and Bingo, their frozen smiles stretching even wider, revealing teeth that seemed too sharp. That same strange, sickly sweet scent wafted from them. Their laughter filled the room surrounding the children. It was insistent, demanding, urging them to join. Bluey and Bingo desperately tried to escape, but the doors were locked. And from every crack, that quiet, hollow laughter seemed to emanate. The final shots of the episode show Bandit and Chili slowly enveloping the children in their paws, and the screen began to flicker. The last desperate attempts of Bluey and Bingo to scream were heard, and then their voices too transformed into those quiet, raspy, repetitive chuckles. The episode abruptly cuts to a close-up of 4 pairs of eyes, now all utterly lifeless and black, but their mouths stretched into identical eerie frozen smiles. The final chuckle echoes into the void. The Healer family decided to take a walk in an old park on the outskirts of Brisbane, a place where dense thickets mimicked a real forest, perfect for games. Bluey and Bingo dashed along the paths, collecting sticks and pebbles, while Bandit roasted marshmallows over an improvised campfire. And Chili checked the map to avoid getting lost. "Let's play trackers," Bluey exclaimed, pointing to footprints in the mud. The sun set, painting the trees orange, and they ventured deeper, giggling over imaginary adventures. But as the shadows lengthened, the park changed. The air grew heavy, laced with the scent of damp earth and something metallic. Bingo tripped over a root, and her laughter echoed strangely, as if the forest swallowed sounds. In the distance came a crack of branches, not wind, but heavy rhythmic steps. "What is that?" Chili whispered, looking around. Bandit shone his flashlight, but the beam fell on emptiness. From the bushes emerged the deer, a massive silhouette with branching antlers twisted like hooks for catching souls. Its eyes glowed a dim green, body covered in bark and moss, but beneath pulsed veins like those of a living tree. This wasn't an ordinary animal, the deer from those nights where the forest sought revenge for intrusion, stalking wanderers to merge them with the earth. In the game, it crept silently, striking with antlers, leaving trails that led to traps. Here it was real, its antlers casting shadows that formed faces, faces of lost children, whispering, "Come back." Bluey froze, clutching a stick like a weapon. She wanted to shout, but her throat tightened. The deer stared straight at her, and in its eyes flashed memories. Broken toys, forgotten picnics. Bandit stepped forward, swinging a branch. "Go away," he growled. But the deer lunged, antlers scraping a tree and peeling off bark. Roots burst from the ground, wrapping around Bandit's legs, pinning him in place. Chili grabbed Bingo and ran, but the path twisted, looping them back. The deer created a maze of shadows, its steps echoing like a herd. Bingo hid behind a rock, tears streaming down her face, but the deer found her first. Its antlers brushed her shoulder, and Bingo felt a chill as if the forest pulled her inside, turning her into part of itself. "Run!" Bluey mouthed silently, rushing over. She hurled pebbles, distracting the beast, and the family bolted for the exit. The deer pursued, its green eyes burning brighter, antlers snagging branches and leaving trails of slime that burned like acid. The campfire at the entrance was dying, but flames flared when Bandit tossed dry grass. The light drove the deer back into the underbrush. They burst onto the road, gasping, the park behind seeming normal. But on Bandit's arm remained a mark from the antler, a branching scar pulsing green. From that night they avoided forests, but in the evenings they heard cracking. The deer waited, its eyes in the window, calling them back to the game where no one leaves. The forest whispered their names, reminding them that some adventures last forever. There's a lost Bluey episode only whispered about. They call it The Staircase That Wasn't There. It aired once, maybe less. Some say it was never meant to air at all. The episode begins like any other. Bluey and Bingo are playing hide-and-seek in their house. Bandit counts loudly. Chili laughs from the kitchen. Everything feels normal. Until Bluey hides in a new place. A door under the stairs. A door that wasn't there before. It's small, barely big enough for her to crawl through. She hesitates, but Bingo finds her giggling. They both squeeze inside. On the other side, a staircase, leading down, much deeper than the house should allow. The walls are bare concrete. The air smells damp and cold. The steps seem to stretch forever into the dark. Bingo jokes maybe it goes to the center of the earth. Bluey laughs nervously. They descend, step after step. The light behind them fades. The house above seems to vanish. The further they go, the colder it gets, and the darker. Their voices echo strangely. The stairs twist and turn, sometimes leading sideways, sometimes looping. They find doors along the way, small wooden doors, each one slightly ajar. Behind them, things move, shapes, figures they can't quite see. Bingo gets scared. She begs to go back. Bluey agrees. But when they turn around, the staircase behind them looks different. The steps are cracked, broken. The path they came from, gone. Only more stairs leading down. They keep walking, They pass a window set into the stone wall. Outside it shows their house, but wrong. The sky is red, the trees are twisted, no one is there, just emptiness. Bingo starts crying. Bluey promises to find a way back. They keep going, down, always down. Hours seem to pass, days maybe. Their paws hurt, their voices weaken, but the stairs never end. Finally they see another door, this one made of heavy metal. Without thinking they push it open. Behind it, a hallway. Familiar, the hallway of their home, but too quiet, too still. They step inside. The door slams shut behind them. They run to their room. Their beds are there, their toys. But the windows show nothing outside, only endless black. The final scene shows Bluey and Bingo lying in bed, wide-eyed, listening in the distance the sound of slow, heavy footsteps, climbing the stairs, getting closer. The screen fades to black, no music, no voices, only the sound of steps, never stopping. Bluey and Bingo were playing hide-and-seek at home. The weather was cloudy, the light dim. Bluey hid in her parents' bedroom closet. There, in a corner, she felt something. Moving things aside, she saw a tiny, never-before-seen door. It was old, made of darkened wood with carved symbols. The hinges creaked. Bluey opened it. A long creak echoed. A cold draft, smelling of dust, metal, and something sweet and putrid drifted from the opening. Inside, a dimly lit, endless corridor stretched with wrinkled, grimy wallpaper. The light pulsed. She heard a faint, muffled child's cry from deep within. Bluey quickly shut the door. Bingo found Bluey. Bluey tried to tell her parents about the door, the cold, the crying. They laughed, saying it was imagination. "There are no doors there," Bandit said. They didn't believe her. The next day, Bluey returned to her parents' bedroom. The closet was open. The door she'd seen was bigger, about a third larger, and now it was directly in the wall. Bluey touched it. The wood felt damp and cold. The symbols glowed with a faint green light. From behind the door came a distinct scraping sound, then a quiet, unintelligible yet alluring whisper. Bluey recoiled. That evening at dinner, Bluey again mentioned the door. Bandit nervously dismissed it. Chili looked worried. "I heard something," she whispered to Bandit. A faint thud came from the bedroom. Bandit went to check. He returned pale, saying it was just an old box that fell. But he avoided looking at Chili. He had seen something. That night, Bluey woke to a pulsing red light seeping from beneath her bedroom door. She sat up. Her heart pounded. She heard a distinct scraping, something dragging across the living room floor. Then a clear whisper, close, childlike, but distorted. Game. The door to Bluey and Bingo's room slowly, silently opened. Red light flooded part of the room. In the doorway stood Bingo. But it wasn't her sister. Wrong Bingo was pale, her eyes empty and black. Thin, black, vein-like patterns crawled across her fur. She stood unnaturally straight. Her smile was stretched too wide. From her mouth came a wet, hissing whisper. "Come here, Bluey, the game is just beginning." Bluey froze. She wanted to scream but couldn't make a sound. Wrong Bingo extended a paw towards her, too long and thin. From beneath her sleeve, something dark and segmented crawled, like an insect, but it was part of her arm. Sleeping Bingo in her bed stirred slightly, murmuring in her sleep. A faint irritation crossed Wrong Bingo's face. She slowly retreated into the darkness. Soon, the door slowly closed. The red light vanished. The room plunged back into darkness. Bluey trembled, pressed against the bed frame. In the morning, the house was cold and empty. The sun didn't break through. Everyone was asleep. The parents' bedroom door was ajar. Beyond it, absolute impenetrable darkness. A sound. A long dragging scrape. Something being pulled across the wooden floor. Then a faint wet squelch. Another scrape. A thin, barely visible trail of slime led from the door and disappeared under the couch. Silence. Then a long, wet, drawn-out sound, like something heavy and soft dragging slowly across the floor. Then a deep, heavy sigh which cut off.